Let me remember to hit the recording button. All right, hello everybody. Hello Wendy, Kara, Gail, Tyler. How y'all doing? Sitting in a room and Charles showed up, so I actually got a crowd. Not like talking to the wall. Glad you're here, Charles. I think there's a couple other people going to stop by here, but whether they do or not, we're ready to go. On your screen, I think that you see a sign that says get backlinks. Get backlinks. So this is obviously the topic for today. Backlinks, some say, are the mojo. They're the juice. They're the golden, I don't know what you want to call the golden goose or something. This is what every website needs. This is what every web page needs. The fundamental belief is that in order for a search engine to find you, somebody else has to already have found you. So somebody already linking to you makes it possible for the search engine to find you as well. And if nobody's ever found you, then how would a search engine know that you exist? And the way that you are found online is by one other website linking to your website with a hot link, a hyperlink. In other words, when I read over a web page and I see the blue and I scroll over and it pops up live, click through that and it goes to another website. That's called a hot link. And the link that it goes from, they call it an external link. The link that it comes to is called a backlink. Sometimes it's called a pingback. When a website links to itself, that's called an internal link. It's not quite as powerful, but it's very useful. But the reason for backlinks, so it is said, is that when somebody has found you and they thought you worthy of linking to, of creating a hot link to, that means you must be worthwhile. You must be something. You must have some value. And the more of that you have, the better, the higher the value. And the higher the value, the higher the ranking in the search engines, is the way the theory goes. Nobody's actually able to prove all this, or at least they think nobody's actually proven that. That's just the way the theory goes. But I'm going to talk about how to get such backlinks, how to be found by other people. And here we go. Zoom, zoom, zoom. So why do we want backlinks? Why do we want backlinks? And the reason number one, it increases findability. Some real person actually found you at some course in their life. And when a real person finds you, the search engines, which are by nature not people, they're not subjective, they're just robots. All they can do is count. They count how many people are connected to you via that hot link, via that hyperlink. When a search engine counts those, the more you have, the more findable you become because people are already finding you. Thinks, and search engines can't think, but if they thought, they would think, wow, look how many people are linking to this website. That must mean there's something worth linking to. And so the search engine, only by the number alone, counts how many times a web page, a website, an individual post, an individual article has been linked to, and gives it some juice and says this one is worth finding because other people, other websites have found it. So one reason you want backlinks is because it makes your website more findable. It also adds credibility. So now this, we want to think this is true, but we also know that just because people say you're good doesn't mean you're good. Somebody might have a whole lot of friends, and all those friends are saying, wow, look at this guy, he's really good, he's really sharp. But that doesn't mean he's really good and he's really sharp. It just looks like he is or she is. So the credibility factor, again, the search engines cannot make a subjective determination. Credible and not credible is determined by real people who've done real research and done original research, and they've compared that to one another. It's not always peer review. Sometimes it's changing other people's minds and because of the overwhelming evidence and that sort of thing. But for a search engine, are not able to do that. What a search engine can do is count to see how many people are linking to this. And the more people who link to that, the more findable it is. But here's something that's even more important than how many people link to your site. What we really care about is how many people link to the people who link to your site. So I say, like, how many people link to the people or the websites that link to your site? So effectively, I could create a website, and then I could go create hundreds of other websites. It just depends on how many $9.99 I have, because that's how much it costs for a domain name. And then I could add hosting to that. So if I have a bunch of $10, I could create a bunch of websites that nobody knows about. And all those websites that nobody knows about, I could put all over the place and have them linked to me. And it looks like, wow, look at how many websites have found me. It's all a money proposition. The more money I have, the more websites I create who can link to me. That doesn't mean nearly as much as if I had 3 or 5 websites that tens or hundreds or thousands of people are linking to, and then those websites link to me. So when somebody who has a lot of presence, somebody who has good findability by virtue of how many links have come to them, when those people link to me, their links to me are much, much better than a bunch of no authority links. So the number of people who link to, number of websites who link to you, plus the number of websites that link to the websites that link to you, that adds up to a number. It's called the authority. You can go to someplace like Technorati and you can see how many, which websites have real good authority. So when you have a lot of people who link to websites who link to you, it gives you credibility and it also gives you authority. I can say that I have written this article, 10 websites are linking to that article, and those 10 websites have an aggregate total of 600 people who link to them that link to me. You see, so it's hard, it's easy to get links from one site over. I just buy them and have them linked to me. But it's hard to go beyond that, because then you have to, it's harder to go beyond that because I have to reach out to other people to reach into sites who don't know me. So the more backlinks you have from websites that have more backlinks, from websites that have more backlinks, et cetera, the more authority I have. And when I have good authority, it increases my credibility, it increases my findability, and that's why I want backlinks. That should make sense. And then I go, wow, woo, off I go. I'm super dude because I've got lots of backlinks. Now, of course, there are the wrong way to get those backlinks. I've alluded to one of them. Hang on, let me check the question box here. So does the word backlink refer only to those who link to the other site that link to you? No. The word backlink is people who link directly to you. In other words, there is a link on their website that comes back to you, hence the word backlink. It's also called trackback. In other words, if I went to site B and I looked at the hot link and I tracked that all the way through, in other words, I clicked on it and followed it through, it would track all the way back to you. It's called a trackback. And sometimes they're called pingbacks, means somebody wrote over there and ping, it notifies you that you have been referred to somewhere else. So linkbacks, trackbacks, backlinks, all the same thing. And they're all people linking to you. Now, one of the wrong ways I mentioned was, buying my way to it, but there are things such that are called link farms. And so instead of me taking my $100 a month or $100 a week or whatever I have and buying all my own websites and having them all linked to me, none of them having any authority because nobody links to them. They're just little bitty sites that existed all by themselves with very minimal content on there. And so people, the shysters get together and they create farms of that sort of thing. So in other words, I'll go out and I'll take $1,000 and I'll buy 100 domain names and put them on farms. I'll put them on hosting and create minimal content on there and then use them to link to me. And then somebody else will do the same thing. Somebody else will do the same thing. We all give a shout out to one another, and we've got a bunch of little plots of land, plots of domains, and all those plots are effectively farms. And so what you have is a whole bunch of websites that have no authority, have no credibility, have no findability, and they have, and they're all linking to somebody else. And those link farms, people sell that. They'll say, I can get you 1,000,000 backlinks. I can get you 1,000 backlinks. But when they do that, they're reaching out to farms like this, and they have a bunch of websites with minimal, if next to no content on them, linking to you and doing you no good whatsoever. In fact, you also get the reverse factor. If you have a high credibility site where people have noticed you and think that you've done, you have other people who have nothing to do with you linking to you, it'll drag you down. It'll dilute the effectiveness of your site. So you want to make sure that you're linking to other people and other people are linking to you. So link farms are no good. You can think of it, if it can be generated by money alone, it's no good. Now, that's not almighty truth, but it's pretty close. So if I can just, if all I need is money and I can buy domains and hosting and spend minimal effort throwing something up there that's loosely related and just link back and forth, I've got a bunch of nothing linking to nothing equals nothing. So anytime somebody says they can do something for you automatically and quickly, run far away, because it will not do you any good. It will poison your site. It will eventually destroy it. And that is what the Penguin update was all about, trying to remove all these link farms a while back. So another way to do it, they got these things called link wheels. Link wheels. Now, it's not all that different from a link farm, except the link wheel is somebody will create one website, and then they will create 5 or some arbitrary number. We'll call it 5 for now. So somebody will create a website, and then they'll create 5 other websites that are loosely related, and they'll put content up on there. They're all about travel. So all the 5 travel websites link to the one website in the center. So we got 5 linking to 1, gives an authority of 5. And then they'll create another such animal that does the same thing. And so they'll have another website where 5 websites are linking to 1 and has an authority of 5. And then you do that several times, and you'll have wheels. You'll have A, B, C, D, E. I should have created a picture. Maybe I'll do that later. So you have several websites, each with 5 external websites linking to each other. And then those 5 websites, and then there's websites in the middle with the external links, you link them all to each other. So the end result is you've got a bunch of nothing still linking to nothing. But it looks like I have a website with an authority of 5 linking to another website with an authority of 5, linking to another website with authority of 5. But I don't. I have external websites with no authority linking to an internal website that has no authority, and then that website linking to others. So it's just a link farm in a more sophisticated manner, and once again, it can be manufactured. I can create these all by myself. Now here's another good rule of thumb. If I can do it all by myself, it's no good. If I can do it automatically with a lot of money, it's no good. If I can do it independently of anybody else, it's no good. That's no more than me saying I'm really good. There's no credibility there. There's definitely no authority there. And me telling everybody I'm good, what good is that? Now, there is the case where you do independent research, and nobody else has ever done that before, but that's a different animal. We're talking about just generating links. Link farms and link wheels are no good. Irrelevant links. When I have people who are writing about travel linking to people who write about health, it's not relevant. They have nothing to do with each other. Unless, for example, maybe it's what do they call that when you go overseas to get operations, like medical travel or something like that. Well, then we got a connection. But when I got people doing sports linking to people who does flower arrangements, you think, what? So here I am reading this website about flower arrangement, and there's a hot link. I click on that hot link, and I go over there, and suddenly I'm reading about basketball scores. And I'm thinking, what? Why am I going over here reading that? Well, see, a search engine will do the same thing, except search engines cannot read, but they can count. So when they're on the flower website, they're counting how many times the character combination FLOWER comes there, how many times ROSE or LILY. They're counting those character combinations, how many times they appear, and suddenly they see BASEBAL or FOOTBAL. What does baseball have to do with lilies and Easter and that sort of thing? And there's a disconnect. And so when a website links to another website that has nothing to do with one another, it dilutes both sites, because the search engines are counting how many times these character combinations show up over the course of all these connections. And so if you're linking to other people just so you can have a backlink, it's no good. There was a time when there was, they called blog rolls, where you linked to everybody who thought you was your friend, and all that did was dilute the websites. None of this is, you don't want to link to people who are no good. That's the question. But links from Facebook be productive in this circle? No, Facebook have what's called Nofollow. Even you click through, even Facebook links back to you, there's no juice there, there's no credibility there. For one thing, it's very difficult, if not impossible, for any one person's Facebook page to be on topic all the time. So they're not always going to talk about, for you, example, Wendy, solo travel. They're not going to be talking about traveling solo or traveling in groups. They're going to be talking about that once in a while, and then they're going to talk about their cat, and then they're going to talk about getting married and going to weddings and getting drunk and whatever. So Facebook has what's called no follow. So in other words, the link doesn't follow to its website to give it any juice. And besides that, when you're on a Facebook, on a Twitter, and these kinds of things, those are social networks, and they can be rigged. They can totally be rigged. You can hire people to get on and just click away. And, they click, and it turns out to be a popularity thing. And again, I can manipulate that if I have enough money. I can hire enough people to click on that. All right? And so it's no good. And we also know that popularity is not an indication of credibility. Just because somebody's really, really popular doesn't mean they're highly credible. That's like, wow, we get to listen to movie stars, weigh in on what the right political system should be. And just because they're popular and famous over there doesn't mean they're really qualified over here. So the social networks are not a good indicator of what's relevant, except for one of them, and I'll come back to that in a bit. There's one social network that does carry a little juice with it. So we don't want link farms, we don't want link bills, and we don't want irrelevant links, and we do not want to beg for links. I get emails almost every day saying, Bill, you have a wonderful site. Can I link to you? Will you write link to me? That's stupid. We don't do that. You don't have to beg for somebody to link to your website. That's like saying, you work really hard and you're really credible and I'm nobody, but if you told everybody I'm somebody, even I'm nobody, maybe everybody will think I'm somebody. We get it. It doesn't work that way. But people try that all the time. They'll try and buy it. Here again, I get solicitations. I'll give you $25 if you'll mention my website. I'll give you $75 if you'll mention my website. I have been offered as high as $500 if you'll mention my website. And frankly, I'm tempted to do that. Well, I'll pick $500, but it's not worth it. If it can be bought, it's no good because that means the person who has the most money is the best. Well, sometimes that's true, but it's not usually true. You should not be able to manipulate credibility, authority, and findability with just dollars. What we're looking for is real people to be involved in the process. And that's where. So this is the wrong way to do it. And the wrong stuff should be just dumped. Just throw it on. It's crumbled up and throw it off to the side there. So there's a right way. The right way. And this is what I promised I would deliver. The 5 ways, at least 5 ways I can think of, to get good, high-quality backlinks to your website. And number 1 is to meet real people. We hate this part because it's work. But if you're sitting in a room and there's real people sitting next to you, think Tupperware or something. Hey, let's connect. I got this something that's really cool. Don't you have something really cool? Well, it's not all that sleazy at all. If you're in a room and there are other real people in that room, and you don't ask them, do you have a website? I mean, legitimately, do you have a website? I have a website. What's your website about? Ask them, what's your website about? Well, it's about this, that, or the other. Well, my website's about this. And if there is a real connection, if there is a legitimate connection, why would you not want to link to one another? Now, if I've got a real estate dude and I got another guy who's a contract plumber dude, why wouldn't they want to talk about each other if they're both good at what they do? So when you meet real people, it's an absolute golden opportunity for you to create legitimate backlinks to one another because, why? Real people are involved. And now, can you buy that? Yeah, maybe, but I'm not quite sure how you would buy that. That would be really hard to manipulate in some shady way. So when you're in a room with real people, carry your business card, tell them what you write about, and don't say, hey, here's my business card, link to me. That's stupid. That's like begging for links. When you're sitting in a room with real people, you want everything. Oh, this is funny. This never happened before. All right, here we are. Now I think we're back in business here. So meet real people, and here's one way to do it tonight. We're going to have 830 people. Well, they ain't all going to show up, but meetup. Meetup's a great way. Now, it's not the only way. It's just an indication. Whatever kind of networking event that you find yourself regularly participating in, get involved with real people. Look, there's real people going to be here tonight, and I'm going to yell at them and say, if there are 15 people in a room, you don't go home with 10 business cards, you've wasted an absolute golden opportunity, because connecting with real people is a real way to generate backlinks, make real connections. So let's make sure that what we're talking about has something to do with what they're talking about. Now, if you cannot meet real people, you can go to any website, almost any website, and there's a contact us form. Well, yeah. So it still has to be done. It's just easier to do in person. I mean, you can meet somebody face to face and make physical contact and decide, well, you're a bum and she's not, real quickly. Online, there is no personality generally. So you go to whoever's website, you go to their contact us page, and you reach out to them and say, hey, I've been reading your stuff. It's really good, or it's not really good. I think what you say makes sense. I think what you say doesn't make sense. Would you like to start a fight? And most people, not most people, some people like to have fights because that's how you learn, and that's what gets people engaged. So you can go to a website, you can go to the blog, you can leave comments. When you leave comments, you're interacting with real people. So when you interact with real people, you make real connections. And after you've done that for a while, you can reach out and contact them and say, hey, let's talk turkey. Maybe I have something I can give to you. You write about marketing or whatever. I know things about marketing. Can I share some of my experiences with your writers and with your readers? Well, I never met a blog owner who didn't like free content. And when someone who's actually been reading my website actually has something of value to offer, I'm delighted to let them participate. And when they write on my website, of course they're going to get a byline because they're real people and I want to link back to them. So when you reach out to real people and make a real connection, well, that makes a good backlink. And you can invite other people to participate on your website. And when they participate on your website, they're going to go back to their homepage and tell people, I was writing over there. And that makes for good love. That's really, really hard to manipulate. You can't buy that as real people are involved. You give people real value. So when you create something on your website, you're going to create something for them that's valuable. And one of the best ways to do that is with infographics. I have an infographic. It's not great, but I like it. 4 steps to winning at social media marketing. Well, look at that. Go on, write more relevant stuff. Do it better than the next person. Update your page. Stay with it for a long time. We all love those infographics, don't we? Well, sure we do. Because they're valuable. They're picturesque. We can read them. We can study them. And we really like to pass them around. I saw one the other day. It was the Content Marketers Periodic Table. They spent a lot of time on that. Wow, I got to share that. And so I did. So when you have something very valuable, people like to share that. And when they like to share it, they send what? They send links to other people. And people put that link. Sometimes it's on the social networks. That doesn't do any good. But sometimes they put it on their websites. And this was really good. And when they share a link to something on your website that's really good, you've got a backlink because you gave people something that was of real value. Another way to do it is to offer real contributions. So there are ways to do this. You can offer to guest write on high quality websites if they'll have you. And how will they determine whether you're quality or not? Well, the way they do that is because you've built your website and put real content on there that's really valuable to a lot of people. And when you have a history of doing that, then others who have even higher, more qualified sites want you to contribute on theirs. And when you do that, you can link back to yourself. Because I've been experimenting with this. Not long ago, I was given the chance to be a publisher on LinkedIn. Well, that's cool. LinkedIn's very niche specific, very business. And then within business, you got different niches. And so I started writing. You can see here some of the articles, difference between inbound, outbound, social, hard proof of content marketing, and organic research, and all that stuff. But you can see here, look at 1,400 people. Whoa, or 1,400 pairs of eyeballs came looking for this. 116, 401. Now, those are not great numbers, but I'll take them for now. I only have 1,400 followers or some such number. 1,400 followers and 1,400 pairs of eyeballs. That's like 100%. Wow, that's pretty cool. But here I am making a contribution on LinkedIn with, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not expecting to get paid for this. I do think that if I did this long enough, I might earn some mojo on LinkedIn, or not, I don't know. But on each of these articles, I can link back to my site. But here I am making a real contribution to my network on LinkedIn, to the LinkedIn network, for people who are specifically interested in this topic of content marketing. Make real contributions. That's hard to manipulate, right? And then we got real. I've used it for real a lot here. Add real content. Make sure you're giving them something valuable. The key parameter to whether something's valuable or not is, does your content make a contribution? Does your content make a contribution to the overall discussion? So here I wrote an article, 5 criteria to determine if you're a thought leader. Well, I've not seen these criteria anywhere else, and because I made them up myself. And then here's search engine box. Does it exist? Well, here's my experiences from case studies that I've generated with my students. So I know it doesn't exist anywhere else because I did it myself, and I made my students do it. So we generated it in a controlled room where nobody else was there but us. So I know it's original. I know it's new. And so when I put this out there, I have added to the overall discussion about search engine sandboxes, and I've added to the overall discussion about what it means to be a thought leader. So you want to add real content, and the answer to what's real content is, does it make a contribution? So Wendy's asking, what program do you use to make the infographic images? Well, there's several programs. What I did is I went to Fiverr, Fiverr.com, Fiverr, like a Fiverr, give me a Fiverr, like a $5 with 2 R's, Fiverr.com. You can hire people to make those for you for $5. You still have to supply all the details for it, but that's a good place to start. There are also online programs to search, make free infographic. Off it comes. You can do it with PowerPoint sometimes. On a PowerPoint, you can create something and it'll convert it to a PDF. PDFs can make this. There's another one called Canva, C-A-N-V-A, canva.com. And you can make things that look like infographics there. That works well. But they take a long time to make, and when they've done well, they get shared, passed around. One of my favorite ones that I did on my daughter's website is I created an infographic of the top 12 princesses on Facebook. Number 1 is Cinderella. That's right. Number 2 is Rapunzel. She's catching up. That sort of thing. My daughter writes about princesses. So what we want to do is add something to discussion. Add something to the discussion. And then here we're going to get real juice. Get real juice. I think this might be the 6th one. I can't remember. Get real juice. And one of the best ways to do that is, here, look, I just took this picture today. The little arrow says google.com/search. And my query was the definition of search engine optimization. I just want to know the general definition of search engine optimization. But look what shows up, the new definition of search engine. Now, if you click through this, this is a screenshot. If you click through that, you'll find I wrote that article. And it's on Search Engine Journal. I wrote it on April 17th. And then 5 days after that, I Google Plused it. And it also shows up in my Google Plus account. So when people are searching, what is search engine optimization, they're going to find what I think is the new definition, because Google Plus carries mojo. Now, Google Plus is indeed a social network, but it's also connected to all things you do on Google, right? It's connected to your Google authorship, so everything I've ever authored that has my name on it and my Google authorship magic 87-digit number attached to it, Google is able to track. Here's a person who always writes about this. He comments over here about that. He writes over there about that. And these are all the terms he uses about this. And when he comments on this topic, because he has a history of having done all those things, you see that cannot be manipulated. When we create a Google Plus account, when we create a Google authorship account, and when we write with our Google Gmail stuff, we are helping Google do their job. Because why? Because their robots are stupid. They can't make subjective determination, but when real people get involved, and they have a history of being involved in those character combinations that have been counted really highly, it puts in subjectivity. Real people are making determinations on whether this deserves a plus or not. So if you want love, get into the Google Plus circle and do some work there. Do some work there. Let me see. Question. In the isn't it? Rather than text, the search button also does Google see the word? No, infographics. So the question is, can you see the words in the infographic? No, you cannot. You know, they're getting better at taking a picture and wondering what's in there. But that's why when we put images in there, we always have a caption under the image, and we always have a description of what the image is about. A caption and a description. Same with videos. We always have a caption to what the video is about, or mostly a description to what the video is about. Now, search engines are really amazing bots, right? But if you stick a video into your web page, the search engine will, look, there's a video, and then it will download that video. It will play the video in audio, and it'll do a audio to speech, audio to text sort of thing, and it'll translate all that audio into a text, and then it will read all that text, and it'll start counting those texts and decide whether it's relevant to the search or not. So by nature, it's really still really fast, but it still takes more time than it does to read simple text. So I tell people, when you put a video in your website, add a description of what that video is about. When you put an image in there, add a description of what that image is about. That makes it much, much faster for the search engines. Does that answer your question? All right, so those are some things that we want, right? We want real people, real connections, real value, real contributions, real content, real juice. I promised you 5, but there are 6 ways that you can get real backlinks. And these are much, much, much more valuable. By nature, they're harder. They can't be bought. They can't be manipulated. Not nearly as easy. I mean, anything can be manipulated if you have enough money and enough time, but this would be really, really, really hard to manipulate. And that's why it's so much more valuable. When you get links from real people who have a real history in the Google world, and they have a real history of producing real content, they've been making contributions here, there, and everywhere, that adds real value because of their real connections with real people who do the same thing that they've been doing, and they've talked to real people in their industry. Well, you can see how that, when those people link to you, it's going to be more valuable. And when you have that kind of backlink, when that kind of person has found you, then the search engine is going to want to look for you as well. So let's see. And from there, we do what? On backlinks, here's the sauce. Here's the sauce. We're going to eat, sleep, and what comes next? Eat, sleep, and drink. That's right. Eat, sleep, and I'm going to dream. We're going to eat, sleep, and dream about backlinks. And we eat, sleep, and dream about backlinks. We're going to have good juice. There you go. That's my spiel, and I'm sticking to it. Do those things a couple of thousand times for each page that's important on your website, and you'll outrank anybody, anywhere. And when the search engines come looking for you, they will find you. They will do that. Okay, that's all I have. I'm going to, so I don't need more questions. How about you, Charles? Do you have a question? Nope. He says nope. He's wondering what he's talking about. All right, so I'm going to hit the save button here. I love you guys. Next week is the last week. It's Memorial Day weekend. I'm inclined to record next week and have it recorded and send you all the link before Memorial Day weekend. You can listen to it on Memorial Day or otherwise.
I have a question.
All right, we got a question. Yes, sir.
How can we take advantage of videos?
How can we take advantage of videos? See, videos are very HTML. I mean, they're very code heavy. The search engines like code heavy. And the reason they like that because there's involvement there. You have to actually here again, search engines can't read, but they can count. And so in order for a video to appear on your web page, the person who puts that on their web page has to go somewhere and actually watch the video.
Say YouTube, for example.
Go to YouTube or Vimeo and wow, that's a real good video. It actually means something. I like that. And then they have to manipulate the embed code. They have to come back and then put it in there. So this is not something that can be done instantly. So the more time, the more work intensive it is, by theory, it's more credible because it wasn't done instantly. And so if I take a video and I download that video to my web page or embed it onto my web page, and I put text around there saying this is a video about this, and the search engine comes, listens to that video, actually watches the video, listens to the audio file, transcribes it, and reads the text, and then confirms that there is a connection there, you've got good, solid content. So videos are powerful.
So if you have a lot of viewers, will your website get easier to meet the ranking?
Oh yes, it'll help you rank higher. But if all I did was go to YouTube and look at the titles of all these YouTubes and grab all these videos and just start throwing them up on my website, that's not going to do any good. Because that, again, can be manipulated. I can create a program that will read titles and match them with titles on mine, just throw them up there and embed, throw them in embed. No, they have to be watched, they have to be read, they have to be commented on, they have to be text to explain what's in there. And the more often I do that, the more time intensive, the more quality I have put into that. When I put quality into it, I have better content. Let's see. What was the one social media that is exception? Google Plus? Is that what you're asking, Wendy? That's Google Plus that I think is. And then again, you can't just get on Google Plus and start clicking buttons and think everything's going to be happy. You know, you want button clickers who have a history of being in your topic to be clicking on you and giving you thumbs up, that sort of thing. You know, when you get off topic and you got people off topic connecting to each other, we go back to those irrelevant links. We got irrelevant links. And when you have irrelevant links connecting to each other, both get diluted, and the end result is neither one of them are any good. All right, so this is it. So last week's the last week, or next week's the last week. I'm going to try and record it in advance, and I'll send you that link. You can watch it anytime over the Memorial Day weekend or after that's over. In the meantime, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to open up my computer and get to work. If you've got questions, email me, and I'll try my best to answer them as quick as I can. That's it.